Hi, everybody. This is Ariel Hubbard. I'm really excited to be here with my amazing colleague, Vicki Draper. We are here sharing some great information with you about how animals and people can prep for surgery and how we can do energy work to help them do that. We can also help people recover from surgery and animals too. And also dealing with some of the incredible experiences. We're going to share how we help peoples and animals, supported them through their experiences. Would love to have you join in on Clubhouse. If you feel like you want to join with us, we'd love to have you come. And we're hoping you're doing great today. And we will be taking questions if there are any at the end of our time. So feel free to jump on. So Vicki, thanks for co-hosting with me. It's so great to have you as always. We've been doing these, I think since May. And today we wanted to talk about like all the incredible subtleties about surgery and what happens with surgery, because it's pretty amazing. A lot of changes happen in the household with the animal, with the person that's getting ready for the surgery, with the animal that might be getting ready for the surgery. And also when my clients, their psychological thinking, but also what's happening in their energy field and their energy system. So do you want to share some stories about that or how you help people prep for surgery? Or animals, actually.
I know, actually, so there are two parts. So it's the people that have animals and they're having surgery. It does impact their animal. And I'll share a story, a recent story about that is Kathleen is having hip surgery and she cannot get on the floor and play Compton, is her cat's favorite game. And so she contacted me concerned, about how this was impacting him and wanting him to understand. And so we're in the pre-surgery phase right now where, explain to Compton what is happening. Also, our animals love us so much, they pick up on our stuff, as we have talked about. So she's having right hip surgery. And there was a lot of energy in his right hip that had to be cleared because he's helping her. And then he has his own arthritis because he's an older cat. So, keeping him in good shape. And so yeah, you're preparing the person that has an animal is actually helping prepare the animal health too.
I don't think people realize how sensitive animals are.
Yeah, and they want to know what's going on. It's like, oh, there's a difference in my mom. And then she's upset because she can't do her normal functioning. And and so he's not understanding. So now
does the animal think he's upset? Does he think he's upset that his mom's upset with him? He picks up on the upset, but he doesn't know where it's coming from.
Right. And yeah, so there's confusion. So there is confusion. And so when I clarified that and explained it to him, he was like, oh, okay, cool. And we did this. And so we prepared about a month ago. Her surgery's coming up this week. So we're connecting again today to really, communicate the specifics with him, because she's going to be out of commission, afterwards. And there's going to be people coming to help. And, so.
Oh, yeah. So he would need to know that somebody's going to be coming.
Well, right.
So strangers in his territory, right?
Exactly. He's, he'd be going, not knowing what's going on. And so when we tell him all that's going on, then it's like, oh, cool, we handle it. And then I reinforce his protections and clear anything if he's, been helping her, as our animals always do.
Can you explain that? Explain how animals help people. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, our animals love us so much, they don't want us hurting. So when we are hurting, they are like little energetic sponges to take off our stuff. And the problem is it can get stuck in their bodies, and then it causes them health problems. And so that there again, that's why I said, like, Kathleen's having right hip surgery, where Compton was having right hip stuff, because that's where he was siphoning it off from her. Into his right hip. I mean, they just literally, are a sponge and take it away. And it doesn't matter how much you tell your animals not to, they want to. They want to because they love you so much. And so it's just something to be aware that their world gets disrupted when your world gets disrupted.
And that's
so,
important for people to know.
Yeah. And so then after the surgery, we're going to connect and because he's going to be in the mix of all of this, and just see if there's any issues that need to be cleared up for him so that he can just process this smoothly. And then that relieves Kathleen's concerns that he's taken care of while she's getting her needs taken care of. So
that's huge.
It is very huge.
So you're helping them prepare for the surgery ahead of time. And then in a couple of minutes, we're going to talk about what happens when they're in recovery. But it's people also need this, but their cells need it. So I have clients come in to see me and they're looking, they know that they need a surgery. A lot of times when I work with people, I'm discovering that they need surgery. Now, I'm not a doctor, right? But I've treated tens of thousands of people. So I can tell when someone's problem doesn't resolve with me. I tell them, you need to go check out, go have an appointment with an orthopedic surgeon. And I said this to someone yesterday, and it's because if the joint has an abnormal feel, they might need to go get a surgery to address that. Or if their gait is off, they might need to go get a hip replacement. So I know that there's some kind of problem that I can address. So what I do is I tell them to go see and get a consult from an MD or surgeon. They come back to me, they say, oh, I've had, yeah, you're right, I have to get a surgery. What do we do? And then I have a conversation with the cells and the tissues that are going to be worked on. And you and I were talking about the damage that happens to people's energy fields when they get surgery. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
Yes, well, I'll share that the animals definitely get it too.
Yes.
Because yes, what it is the energy, even our physical body is energy. And when it literally physically gets cut, it's cutting open those meridians, it's cutting open the energy channels. So it not only affects our energy, our physical fields, it affects our energy body. And that's where doctors and vets, they do the physical and the physical recovery. And there's this extra component with the energy that can cause a lot of problems if you don't get that opened back up, reconnected, and balanced.
Yes. And so animals have that same issue, and humans also have it as well.
Yes.
And so when we're prepping people or animals, we're not only letting them know, hey, you're going to have this surgery, but you might be talking to the cells or the energy systems like the chakras or the meridians that are going to be affected, and saying, hey, just so you know, this is coming up. And then what I do is it depends on the surgery. If somebody's going to have a body part removed, we'll do a gratitude ceremony for that body part that's going to be removed. Like if they're doing a hip replacement, the head of the femur is being taken out. Okay. Or if they're having a hysterectomy, we'll talk to the uterus ahead of time. We'll have, and we'll talk ahead of time and give thanks and gratitude and say, when this is being removed, I release my energy attachment to you. I allow you to go to your next state of existence. And I'm going to welcome in this new structure, whether it's, a prosthetic, and it's an implant, or sometimes like for knee surgeries, they've been taking tendon cells and then repurposing them into ligamentous cells. And so what I'll do is I'll talk to the tendon and I'll say, okay, you've had more elastin than collagen, but when you're moved to this new part of the body, I'm going to ask the collagen cells to reproduce more quickly so that the structure can be more collagenous so that it can support the structure of the knee, for instance. So like, depending on what the structure is that I'm working with, I'll have a conversation with those tissues and say, okay, you're either going to be repurposed or we're going to let you go. And this can be very emotional. I don't know about if it's emotional for your clients, but it's emotional sometimes for the people that I work with on this.
Yeah, because it is real. And
yes, it is. And then what happens? And then, so then people go through their surgeries, right? And
Mhm.
I don't know if this is in the animal field as well, but in the human field, they've been discovering that circulation is life, duh. But what they used to immobilize people for weeks or months at a time, and now if they depending on the surgery, they'll put them in a perpetual motion machine to get circulation into the area, right, to stimulate healing, quick healing.
Quickly, they get them up as soon as possible.
And with animals, they can't immobilize them because animals don't tolerate that, right? You just look at the cute little dog with the little collar around his neck, and he's trying to bite at it and get it off his neck, or the kitty with a collar. They don't like stuff that keeps them from moving. So I guess they don't have that problem. Like
they have the opposite problem, because then really active dogs, they have to be contained to not overdo it. So
oh my gosh,
it's the opposite problem.
Right. And I mean, we were having conversation before we talked today about I call them doggy wheelchairs. That's probably not the name, but the little cute little wheels. They put their hindquarters in the sling, and then the dog is able to move with their front paws, right?
Yeah.
And right.
Yeah.
But that's at least a way to keep the animal moving, as an example.
It
right?
is, but it weakens the hind legs. So you don't really want to be doing that unless you know that the legs are not going to recover or strengthen.
That's a really good point. So for everyone listening, if you're thinking about getting a surgery for your dog and you're thinking about the doggy wheelchair, you might want to reconsider that, unless like maybe the dog's legs just don't work because of nerve damage or something.
Yeah.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say, I have a story with an animal, because with animals, we have to prep them before surgery too. When the animal is going in for surgery, because they don't know. You know what's going to happen, but they don't know. And so it's really important to relay that to them, because they will show you. Case in point, my own cat, Spirit, a little bit ago had to have a tooth removed, and I was down and out with a serious sinus infection, and so my friend had to take him in for me and pick him up, bring him back. Had to take care of it for me, because by that point I didn't realize I was going to be that bad still that I couldn't do it, or to reschedule it. And so, oh my gosh, my cat Spirit was so mad at me. So mad, and it was awful. And it was because I didn't do my normal and tell him what was happening. And
because you were out of it. Because you were out of it.
Exactly.
You weren't feeling good.
Exactly.
If you were feeling good, you would have done that.
Exactly. Right? And so then he had to have another tooth removed like 7 months later. And I communicated, I was feeling good. So I communicated it to him. We went, picked him up, like nothing happened, because he knew what was happening. He was informed. And so it's like, I have the cases of when you don't tell them and when you do with the same animal. And it was a night and day experience.
So bottom lining it, people, we all know this. Communication's really important. And that also applies to our animals, apparently. And you know how people, like, if you just said, hey, I can't meet you at such and such a time, like how much better that would be than not saying anything. It's the same thing with surgery. Kind of important to tell them, hey, look, hon. Now, when you did your post-surgical communication with Spirit, did you say to Spirit, hey, Sophia, hold on a second. Give me a second. Sorry, I had somebody pop in on a Clubhouse, and I've got to, Sophia, I got to mute you, sweetie. Okay. Anyway, as I was saying, that's what happens when we do live. So with your post-surgical intervention with your kitty cat, right? Your kitty cat said, hey, I'm super mad at you. Did you say, I'm sorry that I didn't tell you and I wasn't feeling good and that's why I didn't tell you? Did you have that message did you send that message to Spirit?
I did share that with him. Because since I was so out of it, I didn't know what was going on. I called an animal communicator friend of mine, because when they're out, we're too close to, and then also when I was out of it. And she just said, well, you didn't tell him and you didn't ask him if that's what he wanted. And
Ooh, ouch.
exactly. And so I was like, oh, and so then I communicated with him, explained why we did it. And yeah.
Well, and it's, I mean, a lot of us, we learn by making mistakes, right?
Oh yeah.
And so people's bodies are like that too. Like people, if you're not exercising, check in with your body and how does it feel? It may be saying, hey, I need a break. It's okay. But then it may also be saying, hey, it'd be nice if you, took a walk. I mean, or did something like, so it's the same thing with our tissue. If we communicate and let it know ahead of time, that's going to make a difference in terms of like the results we get. So I do have a story about that for post-surgical recovery. So then what happens is when people have their surgery, what Vicki and I do is we repair the energy systems that were damaged during, because the layers of the auric field can get damaged, as well as meridians, as well as chakras and nadis and other structures in the body. So they need to be repaired. So when you repair those, people recover from surgery faster. A lot of the damage that's pain, post-surgical pain that people, and I'm probably guessing animals, might have weeks or years later, is not the physical issue, it's the energetic that was never fixed or never repaired, never healed. And then the flow of energy that's supposed to happen never happened. And because that didn't happen, the people are experiencing pain. And, my theory with some people is that with phantom pain, because I've done energy work on people with phantom limb pain. Some of them, it's because the energy field was never repaired. And when you repair it, it can reduce or resolve the pain entirely, make it just disappear. It's pretty incredible what can happen. So Vicki, I think you have a story, or maybe a couple stories about recovering from surgery and how you helped animals or maybe their guardians recover from surgery. What do you have for us?
Well, I have one more pre-surgery too, but that I want to definitely share because, oh my gosh, when I first got my massage license for animals, I volunteered at the Humane Society. So I was really getting a good experience while giving back and helping these animals. And it was so rewarding. And there was this one that has stayed with me for all these years. Her name was Michelle. She was a little puppy. She was so frozen in fear she couldn't walk. She was just paralyzed because it was just such a, she was just scared of being in the shelter. And so I was working with her and I was working and, relaxing the muscles. She was just, kind of getting longer and longer and, opening up. And it was so sweet. Well, I go back the next week and I did not know. I'm glad we were able to have the work we did at that time because I didn't know she was getting spayed. And I cringe at all the animals that are getting spayed with those abdominal muscles that tight, like hers.
Oh.
And so I was just like so grateful I was able to get that open because that's going to have helped her heal that much quicker. Because you take a tense muscle that's not even in its healthiest state and you're cutting it.
Well, it's not just the muscles, it's the cortisols that are in their bloodstream.
Yeah.
Because even if they get anesthetic, the liver has to clear the anesthesia and it has to clear the cortisols that were there at the time of the surgery. So, animals have cortisols just like human beings do. So,
yeah.
Wow.
And in her case, I was disappointed. I was happy on one side, but I'm disappointed I didn't get to do a post-surgery with her because she's gotten adopted.
Oh, yeah.
And so anyway, like I said, that story just still remains just how blatant that she needed it, and it was that I did a good job for her to get that prep.
Well, you were there for her in the beginning.
Yes.
And I think that energy carries through even if you can't be there for the recovery. I think it can be there sometimes.
Yeah. And so then, like you said, post recovery, doing the repair, making sure the whole flow is just reconnected and moving in the body, because there's clearly a block at the surgery site, and sometimes it's referred to.
Oh yeah.
And
And when you said referred, you're talking trigger points. Yep. And animals get trigger points just like human beings get trigger points.
yes.
Yep.
And so then, because if their energy is not flowing just like us, it's not healthy. It's causing
Yep.
problems. And so just getting them back in that flow is optimizing their own body self-healing mechanisms to kick in and have the best health.
Absolutely. I have a story about that actually. So sometimes I don't see people right after the surgery. I see people years later. And so what I do is I'm working and I can pick up on whatever, some damage or some distortion in the energy field. And I'll ask them, if you had a surgery? And they're like, how did you know? Because I can feel the distortion in the field. And when I do the repair, a lot of times their discomfort is reduced or completely resolves. This has actually happened 2 or 3 times where I've done Reiki on somebody. And like one woman, I've worked on her hands. She had nerve damage. She accidentally put her hand through a window. I think she tripped and fell and her hand went through a window, and she couldn't feel things in her hand for 20 years. And I worked on her one time and she said, oh my God, I have feeling in my hand. I can feel stuff in my hand. It was amazing.
Nice.
It was amazing. So in that particular case, the Reiki was doing the repair. Sometimes I'll do my energy modality, high self-resonance therapy. Sometimes I'll combine it with Reiki. So to do the energy work, what kind of energy work are you using? What modality are you using when you're doing
I
energy
do
work?
Reiki. I also am trained in acupressure. So it's the traditional
Wonderful.
Chinese medicine that we use
Yep.
in fingertips instead of the needles. And
Yep.
yeah, and then I'm also trained in craniosacral therapy that has some energy components to it.
Oh yeah, for sure. 100%. And also, didn't you have, you had your puppy that you were working with, you had Spirit. Do you have any other stories you can tell us about pre or post surgery?
Well, I did have Jessie, the big mixed breed dog, and was going in for back surgery.
Oh, wow.
And so the importance there is at the beginning is just making sure everything is open, everything is working optimally, and then communicating what's going to happen. And then afterwards, going in and making sure then everything is open and working optimally again, by, like you said, repairing and making sure the energy flow is all connected.
Well, it's huge.
Yeah.
I joke that the healing is BLC, blood, lymph, and chi. And it's true. There's keys to healing. You have blood circulation, lymphatic circulation, and chi circulation, right?
Yeah. And so back surgery is hard on any dog, but especially a large dog, and this is a larger breed dog.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So it really, it just really made a difference in her and movement and everything. And what's so priceless to me is when the animal gets relief and they just look at me with this like gratitude in their eyes. It is so sweet.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
I sometimes I think I've told you that sometimes I'll go to people's houses and their cats or dogs will whoosh over and gravitate.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I had this friend's dog who would not leave me alone. I gave this dog a massage for about 20 minutes because I was trained in canine massage for about 20 minutes, 2 or 3 years prior. And this dog was pawing at me, rubbing on me, leaning on me, looking at me like, don't you get it? Like, what are you doing? And I'm like, what do you want? And then the dog's mom was like, come on over here. He ignored her. He would not leave me alone. And then I'm like, okay, I guess you want a massage. And as soon as I gave him a massage, he relaxed, he calmed down. He had the same gratitude look, like you said. I'm like, wow. But I was shocked that he remembered that from such a long time period previously. I was like, wow, Cool. I had an impact on him,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
Because
awesome.
yeah, I used to have an office near Marymore Park, which is a big off-leash dog park that dogs go crazy about. Well, my clients would tell me that they would be driving to the park, but they would be looking over at my place. There's like, they want to go to my place.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Yeah, so
They totally remembered.
they know where the good stuff is.
Well, that's amazing that they remember while they're they're riding in a car, right?
Yeah, because I had numerous ones tell me that.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
I do wonder about animal intelligence and what their level is. Everybody, they talk about different breeds having different levels, and you wonder, but the thing is the communication, you're sending them images, right? You're sending them images, or are you talking to them? Like, how are you doing it? You're sending it telepathically, right?
I'm feeling it telepathically.
Right.
Well,
Okay.
sometimes it's vision, sometimes it's feelings.
Okay.
And sounds. It's I just share the environment
Yes.
from their point of view.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Not ours.
Right.
Their
Not
point of view.
ours, because they
Right.
think differently, because they don't have the prefrontal cortex to do the logic and stuff. So you have to think differently and talk to them differently, and they're
So
at their level and their language.
Right. So when you talk to them and send them images or send them a feeling, that's their way of relating. Got it. Makes sense.
And then that's how they communicate back too.
So you do teach people how to communicate with animals, right?
I do. And I do have a class scheduled starting, I think, January. It's on my website.
Okay. So what's your website? How can people reach you? How can they find you?
It is www.healingyouranimal.com, and healing is spelled HEALING.
That's a good point.
YOURANIMAL.com.
So healingyouranimal.com.
Yeah.
And then you also have a really cool podcast. Now, I know this recording is going to go on your podcast, but for the people on Clubhouse or the people on Facebook or YouTube, Vicki has a podcast. It's really great. A lot of good information called Animal Messages, right? I got that right.
What your animal wants you to know.
What your animal wants you to know. And she also has a couple great books, right? So do you want to tell us the titles of those?
Yeah, the first one is Bridging True Love Connection and Healing Between You and Your Animals. And it's great for behavioral stuff and really connecting, and it teaches communication techniques in there. And then the second one is Heart to Heart, how you can heal your animal through all stages of life. And it takes you through the life cycle of your pet, even to how to select a pet, before you have one. And then it takes you through their whole life and even into the transition and dying or transitioning phase, and how
that's
to support
huge.
them.
Yeah.
And yeah, so both of these are results of my over 20 years working with the animals and really wanting to get the message out and really get as many animals supported as possible, so they're rich in content.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of great information in those books. They're amazing.
Yeah, and you can get those on my website if you want an autographed copy, or you can get them on Amazon. And if you go to my website, the link will take you to Amazon too, so you can find it easily.
Fantastic. Love it. Cool.
Oh, yeah.
And then I am excited because I'm launching a podcast that's going to be coming out mid to late November. It's called Woman Power Zone, and it's a podcast with tips, tools, and ways for women to experience empowerment. I'm going to have some amazing guests on there. It's going to be a great experience. And I would love people to join me on launch day. And I don't know what that day is yet, but I'll be announcing it on my social media. So you can find me at Hubbard Education Group on Facebook. You can find me at Ariel Hubbard. That's Ariel, like the Little Mermaid. Hubbard, like Old Mother Hubbard. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Instagram. And I'm also at Pinterest. I have a lot of cool and interesting boards on Pinterest on a variety of different topics, including crystal healing, massage, a lot of other topics. And my website's arielhubbard.com. And if you want to find me, just reach out. And if you need a session, I can do long distance as well as in person. And Vicki, I think you can do long distance as well. In person.
Absolutely. I do.
Yep.
Since I've been serving people in other states and
Yep.
countries for years. So yes, we can do distance, definitely. It's ease on you and your animal. They don't have to be stressed, getting in the car and going someplace if they don't.
Oh my
like it.
God. I just remember my cat like with its four legs out, against the blocks. And I'm like, anything to avoid that kind of experience.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, yeah, so that people are really relieved when they hear that. And
Yes.
we get the same great results. So there's no need to have to go through that kind of stress to get support.
Exactly. And we're on Clubhouse once a month also. It's usually the first Thursday of the month, sometimes the second Thursday of the month, and we usually do it around 10 or 11 o'clock. So if you're on Clubhouse, we will be putting that up on our schedule, and you can find us there. And yeah, we're excited for everybody to join us. By the way, I don't know if you guys know this, but Clubhouse is also able to be used on Android phones as well as iPhones. So it's just an app that you upload. If you want to hear this as an audio and you want to stay in touch with us, that's a way to reach out.
Yeah, and you share all your social media stuff. I'm also on Facebook at Healing Your Animal, and it'll say, just at Healing Your Animal is how to get to me. The title has Dash Bamir in it, or at Vicki Draper. And then I am on Instagram at Healing Your Animal. And then I'm on YouTube for Vicki Draper. And so those of you're listening, we have the visual of this that's going to be posted on YouTube that you can find it.
And then you can catch up on prior episodes that way too.
That's true too. And all the links are on my website on the news page of this, of our talks and how to get to then my podcasts and a lot of good information. And then also, if you are hearing this and you decide, oh, I would really love to schedule a, consult with me, with Vicki, you can do that from my website, or you can do that from my Facebook page at Healing Your Animal. And you can just say book now. And I offer a complimentary 15 to 20 minute talk with you and hear your concerns and see what the best support is.
Oh, that's such a great deal
for you. Yeah, would love to connect with you and hear from you, because I have multiple ways of working with me, and we just find what's going to be best for your situation.
That is so beautiful. Then people can reach out and find you. People can find me in all those social media. And the same thing, I'll have a conversation with you to talk about what your needs are and what you need help with. Well, great. We've had some happy healing experiences today that we've shared about. Vicki, thank you for joining. And I'm so glad that I could be a guest on your podcast. I'm so thrilled. And so I'm just say thank you for the opportunity to join you.
We work really well together, because between the two of us, we've got a really full gamut of the people and the animals, and just keeping everybody optimally healthy.
100%. So happy healing, everybody. You guys have a great day, and we will talk with you soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Take care. Thanks, everybody.